The great elder was shocked. He did not expect Yun Chujio to ask about the hidden dragon pill so openly. A trace of killing intent flashed across his heart. However, the great elder was a suspicious person. He was afraid that Yun Chujio had a backup plan, so he decided to probe further. Thus, he said, "This little girl knows quite a lot. Not bad, there is indeed such a pill. Why are you asking about this? Great old master, you called me here today because I gave you the bone-tempering pill yesterday, right? I won't hide it anymore. I think you must have taken the pill that I mentioned, so I gave you a bottle of bone-tempering pill." Yun Chujio decided to take the initiative to attack. "Not bad. How did you see that I took that pill?" The great old master's eyes narrowed. This little girl really knew the truth. She actually said it just like that. Was she ignorant and fearless, or did she have other plans? Yun Chujio smiled awkwardly. "Great-grandfather, I only smelled the scent of the heart-devouring vine when I was refining pills in the pill refining room. Originally, this heart-devouring vine was usually used to make heart-devouring powder, so it's nothing strange. But I also smelled the scent of zishen. I once read in an ancient book that both of these are highly toxic medicinal herbs. But if you add some other medicinal herbs, it's said to have the effect of stimulating one's potential for a short period of time. I also thought of some of the changes in Xiao An's grandfather's expression, so I guessed that in order to intimidate Xiao An's grandfather, you probably took the risk to take that kind of medicinal pill." The leaves of the Guai Chao in Yun Chujio's dantian trembled. "This little girl is really shameless. Did you sniff it out? Did you sniff it out?" It was clearly the herb that sniffed it out. "I don't know who asked me about the herb the day before yesterday, but his skin is really thick." The great elder was extremely shocked. Just based on the smell of the herb, this little girl was able to guess that he had refined the hidden dragon pill. Wasn't this talent too heaven-defying? Moreover, she was able to guess the hidden undercurrents of the Mo family from Xiao An's expression. This ability to see through the situation was too strong. Not to mention the younger generation, even Xiao Quan might not have such insight. "Then why did you give me the bone-quenching pill?" Although the great elder was shocked, he did not show it on his face. Besides, he was wearing a mask. "Great elder, although I don't know what kind of medicine you took, I think that stimulating people's potential in a short time is nothing more than speeding up the consumption of blood essence. The bone-quenching pill should have some effect." Although Yun Chujio looked very relaxed on the surface, she was actually very nervous. She was now completely seeking the skin of a tiger. If she was not careful, she would be silenced, so she could not make any mistakes. The great elder once again lamented Yun Chujio's amazing talent in pharmacology, but he was very suspicious of Yun Chujio's purpose. What exactly was she going to do? Could it be that she was planning to use this to blackmail him into teaching her alchemy? "Fong Chao girl, your talent in pharmacology is indeed not bad. I wonder, what is the purpose of you telling me these things?" Yun Chujio's face revealed a worried expression. "Great old master, I admit that I do want to learn alchemy from you, but I am more worried about your body. That kind of medicinal pill can be said to be the medicine of tigers and wolves. It is extremely harmful to the body. Although the bone-tempering pill may have some effects, it is best to find a pill that can cure the root of the problem." Yun Chujio's face was slightly red as she said this. It seemed that she did not know how to continue. The great elder frowned. He was asking about her purpose. What did she mean by saying all sorts of things? This chapter is a preview. If you want to see a faster and more up-to-date chapter, please visit for more content. Yun Chujio saw that the great elder was frowning. She gritted her teeth and continued with a desperate expression, "Great master, I won't be shameless today. I'll tell you what I'm thinking. After I went back, I didn't sleep for almost the entire night. I also hesitated whether or not I should come and look for you. I know that the matter of you taking the medicine is of great importance. If it's not done properly, it will cause turmoil in the Mo family. So, perhaps you will imprison me in order to prevent the news from leaking out, and I will lose my freedom. However, if you really die, then the Mo family would fall into chaos. Although our Guangxuan branch is far away in the western continent, our interests are closely related. If the Mo family is in chaos, we won't be able to recover. Furthermore, this is the first time I've seen such a kind elder like you. I admire and respect you from the bottom of my heart. I don't want to just watch you die. When I think about it, I won't be able to see you in the future. My heart is about to break. Xiao Hanio, who was inside the spiritual beast pouch, almost vomited. His master's ability to lie had increased again. It was simply perfection. The great elder saw that Yun Chujia's tears were falling and her shoulders were twitching. Clearly, she was extremely sad. Although he did not believe that Yun Chujio had such a deep admiration for him after only meeting him once, however, his killing intent had weakened slightly. The great elder did not speak. He was ready to hear what Yun Chujio would say next. Yun Chujio wiped her tears with her sleeve, then, she continued, "Great elder, I originally had a glimmer of hope that you would have the antidote for that medicine. However, after seeing your appearance today, I knew that you definitely did not have the antidote. Moreover, I'm afraid that the antidote would be very easy to obtain. Therefore, I have a request. You can leave me in the eastern continent. In the future, you can personally guide me to learn alchemy skills. I will definitely help you refine the antidote. I can swear to the heavens that if these words of mine are not sincere, I will be struck to death by the heavenly lightning. My soul will scatter and I will die a horrible death." Pan, the N0VL. After hearing Yun Chujia's words, the great elder did not speak for a long time. He coldly said, "You are only a level 10 alchemist while I am already a level 14 alchemist. Rather than nurturing you, I might as well place my hopes on myself. Great old master, although what you said is reasonable, I have an advantage over you. That is, I am young. I can enter a famous academy or enter a large sect. This way, even if my ability is not enough to refine the antidote, I can still have a way to obtain the antidote." Yun Chujio straightened her small waist, she said confidently. The great elder was clearly shocked by her words. After thinking about it carefully, he felt that what Yun Chujio said might not be a bad idea. Although the level 27th transformation life creation pill wasn't available on the market, it might be available in a super sect or a first-class family. If he wanted to find a way to build a relationship with them, it would be worth it even if he had to spend a lot of money. However, although this method wasn't bad, this little girl was overestimating herself. How could she enter a well-known academy or a large sect with her talent? What a joke. Fong Chao girl, your suggestion is not bad. However, instead of nurturing you, I might as well nurture Fong Bing. After all, her talent is much better than yours. Moreover, her maternal family is a second-class family. The first elder's tone was cold. This chapter is a preview. If you want to see a faster and more up-to-date chapter, please visit for more content. When Yun Chujio heard the great elder's words, not only did she not shrink back, she even smiled. The great elder was stunned by Yun Chujio's smile. Although this little girl was not bad-looking, her usual temperament made people neglect her looks. This smile actually made people a little dazed. Great elder, although Sister Fong Bing is not bad, to be honest, there is no comparison between her and me. Let's talk about talent first. I have the Heavenly Thunder Spirit Root. Who else can be as outstanding as my Spirit Root? Of course, you must be worried that I will be killed by Tian Dao, but am I not still alive and kicking now? My existence is reasonable. Since Tian Dao did not kill me, then it means that my existence is tacitly approved by Tian Dao. Moreover, although I am from Guangshuanji, my maternal family is a first-class family. Although my mother was removed from the Yi family back then, this blood relationship cannot be wiped out. I don't believe that the Yi family will not cherish family ties in the slightest. In the end, my greatest advantage over Sister Fongbing was that she did not have the talent to refine pills. I had the talent to refine pills. With your guidance, I would definitely be able to enter famous institutions or sections. Moreover, I might even be able to rely on this skill to make the Yi family accept me. Also, great-grandfather, although our Guangshuan branch is in the Western continent, our ability to earn money is not inferior to any other branch. My grandfather supports me in learning alchemy from you, so he will naturally express his support when the time comes. Therefore, in conclusion, Great Elder, I am your best choice. Believe me, that's right. You have to give me your trust. Not only will I be able to find the antidote, I might even be able to find a pill that will allow you to extend your life. Moreover, if there is a suitable opportunity, the Mo family might even become a second-class family, or even a first-class family. Yun Chujio was good at guessing the desires of others. She felt that the Great Elder was only concerned about three things. One was to save his life, and the other was to keep the power of the Mo family in his hands. The last thing was that the Mo family could become a higher-class family. As expected, Yun Chujio's words could be said to the Great Elder's heart. He was faintly excited. That's right, what kind of aptitude could be better than the aptitude of the Heavenly Thunder Spirit root? Although it was possible to be obliterated by the Tian Dao, this was also a gimmick. Perhaps some academies or great sects wanted to take in people with such a special physique. Most importantly, she was the Yi family's bloodline, and she actually overlooked this point. If she could make good use of it, this was a way to quickly obtain the antidote. Moreover, the little girl's words were very clear. Guang Xuanji had clearly expressed his attitude. As long as they could think of a way to return to the eastern continent, then Guang Xuanji would become the big branch's money-making tool in the future. Although the Great Elder was extremely excited in his heart, he still said coldly, "What you said makes some sense. However, this matter is of great importance. I will think about it again. If the matter of me taking the medicine were to be leaked, you know the consequences. Great Elder, don't worry. I understand the stakes. If I didn't have your permission, if I were to tell others about this matter, I would be struck by lightning and die a horrible death." This guy had almost become a mantra. Anyway, this guy was eager to be struck by lightning. Hearing Yun Chujio's words, the Great Elder nodded. "In that case, you can go back. After I have thought about it, I will find a reason to call you over." Yun Chujio blinked her eyes and said with a smile, "Great Elder, I have a presumptuous request. Can you let me go back to the 5th room after I'm full? I'm starving." This chapter is a preview. If you want to see a faster and more up-to-date chapter, please visit for more content. The Great Elder's face stiffened. He had never expected Yun Chujio to make such a request. He paused for a moment, then, he called a guard in. "Tell the kitchen to prepare an exquisite feast. Fong Chao and I will have lunch together." After the guard agreed, he left. Yun Chujio thanked him with a smile. "This is so troublesome. I thought that eating a few buns would be enough. I didn't expect you to reward me with a feast. You are the kindest elder I have ever met." The corner of the Great Elder's eyes twitched. "Sit there and wait. I think lunch will be ready in less than an hour." Yun Chujio naturally did not stand on ceremony. She swaggered on the chair. This fellow would not let go of a single opportunity. She took this opportunity to pick a few questions about alchemy to consult the Great Elder. The questions this fellow picked were very difficult to come to a conclusion. This was the only way to show her outstanding talent. Moreover, this kind of question was beneficial for the two of them to discuss and deepen the Great Elder's impression of her. Yun Chujio and the Great Elder were chatting enthusiastically over here. Some people in the large room could not sit still anymore. Mo Fongbing had sent a maid to keep an eye on the Great Elder's courtyard. She had thought that Yun Chujio would come out in 15 minutes at most. After all, the great elder liked peace and quiet, so he wouldn't talk to her all the time. But after waiting for a while, Yun Chujio didn't come out. Moreover, the maid ran over and reported, "Miss, I heard from Cui Yan in the kitchen that the guards in the great elder's courtyard ordered them to prepare a good banquet. They said that they want to entertain Miss Fangchao." "What?" Mo Fongbing stood up in shock. How was this possible? Not to mention that smelly girl Mo Fongbing, even her grandfather rarely had the chance to have a meal with her great-grandfather. What right did Mo Fongbing have? What right did she have? Kai Yun saw the situation and said, "Eldest miss, when Miss Fongbing and this servant left, they also asked about the food in our manor. Could it be that she was too greedy, so she begged the great elder to give her a banquet? The great elder ordered her to do so out of respect." Mo Fongbing frowned. "Although what you said makes sense, why does great-grandfather have to care about the face of a little girl from a branch? This Mo Fangchao is really evil. Young miss, aren't you overestimating her? She is just a branch's young miss, and her spiritual power is so low. She can't be compared to you at all," another servant, Kai Xia, said. Mo Fongbing didn't say anything. Although she felt that Yun Chujio couldn't be compared to her, she somehow felt a sense of crisis, and her heart felt uneasy. "Kai Yun, follow me to see grandfather." Mo Fongbing decided to go to Missouri Zioquan's place to find out the truth. Mo Fongbing brought Kai Yun to Mo Zioquan's courtyard. After the guards passed the message, Mo Fongbing came to Mo Zioquan's study room. "Fongbing, is there something you want to talk to grandfather about?" Mo Xiaoquan asked with a smile. Although Mo Fongbing was a granddaughter, Mo Xiaoquan had always thought highly of her because of her good aptitude and the fact that her maternal grandfather's family was a second-class family. "Grandfather, it's actually not a big deal. It's just that Sister Fangchao has been staying in great-grandfather's study room all this while. Moreover, great-grandfather even ordered the kitchen to prepare a good banquet. I feel that it's necessary to report this to you. After all, she was invited to admire the flowers in my name." "What? She hasn't left yet? She's still staying for lunch?" When Mo Xiaoquan heard Mo Fangbing's words, he was also quite shocked. How was this possible? After his father found out the truth, he should have dismissed that Mo Fangchao long ago. Why was she still staying for lunch? This chapter is a preview. If you want to see a faster and more up-to-date chapter, please visit for more content. Fongbing, you go back first. Grandfather will go to your great-grandfather's place to take a look. Mo Xiaoquan was suspicious. Could it be that something happened in the middle? It was better to take a look. This was the reason why Mo Fongbing came. Naturally, she stopped when things were good. After bowing, she took her leave. Mo Xiaoquan also rushed out of his own courtyard and came to the great elder's courtyard. Although he was the current head of the family, he still needed to be informed by the guards before he could enter. Very soon, the guards let Mo Xiaoquan into the courtyard. Mo Xiaoquan had yet to enter the study room when he heard the laughter of the great elder coming from inside, and it was the kind of laughter that was heartily laughing. Mo Xiaoquan could not help but frown. Ever since his father knew that his days were numbered, he rarely laughed, let alone heartily laughing. What kind of bewitching potion did that Mo Fangchao give his father? Mo Xiaoquan pushed the door open and walked in. He saw the great elder sitting behind the desk. The mask on his face had long been removed, while Yun Chujio was sitting on a chair at the side, holding a spirit fruit in her hand as she spoke and chewed. It was simply more leisurely and carefree than being in her own home. When Yun Chujio saw Mo Xiaoquan enter, she hurriedly put the spirit fruit aside, then stood up and bowed. Mo Xiaoquan waved his hand with a cold expression and then asked the great elder, "Father, I heard that you are going to hold a banquet to entertain the Fangchao girl. You haven't had a good rest recently. Why don't you let the Tian clan entertain the Fong Chao girl? The great elder glanced at Mo Xiaoquan and naturally knew his intention. However, he and Yun Chuzhou were currently discussing the issue of medicinal pills, so how could he be willing? Hence, he said, there's no need to make a fuss. Since you're here, let's eat together. It'll be more lively for the three of us to eat together. Mo Xiaoquan simply felt that the first elder was a little abnormal today. Usually, he wanted to accompany the first elder to eat, but the first elder was unwilling to be noisy. Today, he actually liked to be lively again. What exactly was going on? Although Mo Xiaoquan was puzzled, he did not dare to say anything more. He sat on a chair at the side, wanting to see what exactly was going on. Fong Chao girl, there's no need to bother about your grandfather. Let's continue discussing the problem from before. I think that the snake vine grass effect is still more towards relieving pain. As for the blood stasis effect that you mentioned, although it has some effect, its effect is still limited. Great Elder, I don't agree with your point of view. Although the snake vine grass blood stasis effect is limited, that's because if used together with the heavens will grass, the blood stasis effect would be even better than the 5-leaf purple peony. The Great Elder was stunned at first, then slapped his thigh. That makes sense. That makes sense. Why didn't I think of this combination? Wonderful. Really wonderful. Mo Xiaoquan knew nothing about alchemy, so the conversation between Yun Chuzhou and the Great Elder was like a heavenly book to him. He saw that the Great Elder and Yun Chuzhou were very congenial, and a trace of displeasure rose in his heart. He had some complaints towards the First Elder. This Mo Fongchao was merely a junior who had taken 5 servings of it. Although he knew some medicinal properties, he did not think much of it. After a while, the banquet was served. At first, Yun Chuzhou was still pretending to be very reserved. After the First Elder said that she should not be reserved, this fellow let himself go. She completely ignored Mo Xiaoquan's cold gaze and ate happily. As she ate, she even praised the taste of the food. Seeing that she was eating so sweetly, the First Elder couldn't help but add half a bowl of rice. As for Mo Xiaoquan, he was very depressed. After eating less than a bowl of rice, he put down his chopsticks. After lunch, Yun Chuzhou should have stood up and left. However, after sipping a few cups of tea, she asked a few more ambiguous questions, which made the Great Elder speak with confidence. He did not even think about serving tea to send the guests off. Mo Xiaoquan was at the side, coughing and winking. However, the Great Elder acted as if he did not see him. In the end, he said, "Xiaoquan, don't waste your time here. Fong Chao will accompany me." "That's right, Grandfather Xiaoquan. Go and do your thing. I will accompany the Great Elder and chat with him. I have nothing to do anyway. I still want to have dinner before going back." Mo Xiaoquan. Although Mo Xiaoquan was extremely dissatisfied with the Great Elder's actions, he could not say anything. He turned around and left. In the evening, Yun Chuzhou got her wish and had dinner. Only then did she swagger out of the house. At this time, the sun had just set and the sky had already started to darken. Normally, Yun Chuzhou did not bring any guards. The house should have sent 2 guards to escort her back to the 5th house. However, Mo Xiaoquan was very disgusted with her now. Why would he think of sending guards for her? Yun Chuzhou did not mind. Feng had been protecting her in the dark anyway. Moreover, the house was only 15 minutes away from the 5th house. Yun Chuzhou was in a good mood. Although the Great Elder did not give her a definite answer, it was basically a done deal. The Great Elder would definitely agree. When the time came, she would use the Mo family as a springboard to fight for a chance to enter a good school or a big sect. Then, she would find a chance to return to the Yi family and find out the inside story of her mother's expulsion back then. Just as Yun Chuzhou was thinking about it, she felt her scalp go numb. Subconsciously, she activated all the defensive spirit tools on her body and leaped forward with all her might. In an instant, a brilliant light flashed, and more than half of the defensive spirit tools on Yunchujia's body were shattered. Even so, her heart still felt slightly uncomfortable. It could be seen that the spiritual power of the person who came was extremely terrifying. At this moment, the sound of a fight could be heard. Anfeng, who was following not far away, realized that something was wrong and rushed up to fight with the person who attacked Yunchujio. Yunchujio looked closely and saw that the person who fought with Anfeng was a masked man. She could only tell that it was a man based on his figure, and nothing else could be seen. The masked man's spiritual power was extremely high, and Anfeng was at a complete disadvantage. He would probably die in less than 10 moves. Yunchujio naturally wouldn't just stand by and watch. At this moment, she couldn't care less. She released the 5 refined iron puppets and released the spiritual piglets to charge at the masked man. Seeing Yunchujio release the 5 puppets and the spiritual piglets, the masked man looked at her with contempt. However, after the fight, he couldn't help but be surprised. This refined iron puppet could actually attack on its own. That spiritual piglet could actually devour spiritual power. This darn girl had some skills. Even so, Yunchujio and Anfeng were still not a match for the intruders. Yunchujio had quite a number of burst talismans in her hands. However, when the two sides engaged in close combat, using talismans was equivalent to injuring 1,000 enemies and damaging 800 enemies, it was basically useless. Soon, Anfeng and Yunchujio were both injured. Although it was not fatal, their fighting strength was greatly weakened. If this continued, their lives would be in danger. Yunchujio used a high-level materialization spell in a moment of desperation. However, she was not confident herself. The high-level materialization piglet was just a little more flexible. The masked man thought that the spiritual piglet released by Yunchujio was no different from the previous one. After using spiritual power to attack, he saw that the spiritual piglet's body would fade away soon, so he did not care too much. Just as Yunchujio was about to release another wave of piglets, she saw those piglets with faint spiritual power gather together again, forming a purple piglet. Not only was the color of this piglet different from the previous piglets, but its body size was obviously larger than the previous piglets. The purple piglet suddenly pounced on the masked man's face. Because things were too strange, the masked man was a little stunned and was pounced on by the purple piglet. The masked man's face was pasted on by the purple piglet, which gave Yunchujio a chance to use the talisman. Anfeng and the refined iron puppet were all pushed back by Yunchujio, and the super-grade sudden rupture talisman kept smashing on the masked man's body. This guy knew that he only had one chance. If he didn't kill this masked man, he wouldn't have another chance to turn the tables. Therefore, he kept throwing the burst talisman and almost threw a sack full of super-grade burst talismans at the masked man. A loud cracking sound was heard and the masked man's screams were heard. Soon, a deep pit was created on the ground. Yunchujio was afraid that the masked man would not die completely, so she threw away the half-sack of super-grade sudden rupture talisman. Only then did she carefully come to the edge of the deep pit. The bottom of the deep pit was charred black. Yunchujio asked puppet number 1 to go down and search for it. She only found a storage ring and a few fragments of jade tokens. It seemed that the masked man had been blown to smithereens. "Miss Jiu, someone is coming," Anfeng said in a low voice. "It's probably someone from the Mo family. You go first, I'll deal with it myself," Yunchujio said as she put away the things in the pit and the puppet. This guy thought for a while and rubbed his face and clothes with the black ash. Then, he jumped to the bottom of the pit and lay down with his face facing the sky. After the loud explosion, the 5 houses of the Mo family, the main house of the Mo family, and even the other 3 houses on the other side of the street were all alerted. As a result, they all sent people to investigate. Everyone was shocked and they saw the deep pit on the ground. Was it man-made or was it a natural disaster? If it was man-made, then the spiritual power of the two people fighting was too terrifying. At this time, Mo shouting saw Yun Chujio at the bottom of the pit and his head buzzed. Did Fong Chao die? Mo shouting quickly flew to the bottom of the pit and checked Yun Chujio's breathing. Only then did he heave a sigh of relief. The money tree was still alive. Yun Chujio took the opportunity to open her eyes and said in fear, "Grandfather, grandfather. You scared me to death." Mo shouting comforted her for a while before he carried Yun Chujio onto his back. The first thing the Mo family did was not to worry about Yun Chujio's injuries, but to ask what was going on. Yun Chujio said in fear, "I was stopped by a masked man when I came out of the house. He said that the Mo family's business of monopolizing the eastern and western continents was immoral and that he wanted to kill me to teach the Mo family a lesson. That man's spiritual power was very high, so how could I be his match? I was knocked out with just one slap, so I don't know what happened after that. I originally thought that I was going to die, but who would have thought that I was still alive? Sob, sob, grandfather, I was scared to death." When the Mo family heard Yun Chujio's words, they could not help but discuss among themselves. Mo Shaoquan waved his hand and said, "Fong Chao girl was really scared. Let's go back to the fifth house first. Xiao Fu, the four of you will come to the house tomorrow. Let's discuss this matter." The weak Yun Chujio was carried back to the New Moon Pavilion. Mo shouting asked a few more questions, but Yun Chujio's story remained the same. This fellow's lying skills were extremely good, so Mo shouting naturally did not find anything wrong with it. Yun Chujio told Mo shouting the contents of her conversation with the first elder. Mo shouting was naturally pleasantly surprised, but then he remembered that the eastern and western continents were being coveted, so he was both happy and sad. He didn't know whether he should be worried or happy. After Mo shouting left, Yun Chujio quickly sat up on the bed and took out the jade plate and storage ring that the masked man had left behind. Most of the jade plate had been destroyed, leaving behind only a few pieces of debris. When they were put together, it was impossible to tell what was inside. All she could tell was that it was carved out of the best 10,000-year-old cold jade. She then sent her divine sense into the storage ring and found that there were about 10 million high-grade spirit stones, some spirit tools, and talismans. What made her most happy was that there was also a shadow escape talisman inside. Yun Chujio wanted to find something about the identity of the masked man, so she rummaged through it and finally found 2 sets of clothes. There was an ancient character embroidered on the lower right corner of the clothes. Yun Chujio recognized this ancient character. It was Yi. Yun Chujio's eyes darkened. Yi. Yi family. Could it be that the masked man was sent by the Yi family? Yun Chujio touched her chin. Things were getting more and more interesting. Logically speaking, she was only the daughter of a concubine who had been expelled from the Yi family. She would not be an eyesore to the Yi family at all. However, someone could not sit still and wanted to kill her as soon as she arrived at the eastern continent. It seemed that there was indeed an inside story behind her mother's expulsion. Yun Chujio rummaged through her storage ring again. She didn't find anything else about the identity of the masked man, so she put the storage ring away. Yun Chujio thought for a while. Since someone from the Yi family had the intention to kill her, they would definitely not let it go. It seemed that she had to quickly gain the trust of the great elder before heading to the academy or a large sect. When she arrived at a famous academy or a large sect, at least the Yi family wouldn't dare to act recklessly again. Moreover, they could learn some self-defense skills. Yun Chujio thought of the purple piglet that saved her life again. With a wave of her palm, several piglets of spiritual power were released. Just as the piglet of spiritual power was about to disappear, the purple piglet appeared again. The purple piglet waved its big ears at Yun Chujio, looking very cute. Yun Chujiu couldn't help but show her little white teeth. Although she knew that she couldn't communicate with the purple piglet. However, she still smiled and said, although I feel that my high-level spiritual beast is a little cowardly, but you saved my life today, so I think you are still not bad. The purple pig rolled its eyes and disappeared with a puff. Yun Chujiu could not help but stare. "Io. Shouldn't spiritual beasts disappear when their spiritual power is exhausted? Why did her spiritual beast disappear just like that? Could it be that it could control the time when it disappeared? What the hell?" Yun Chujiu waved her palm again. She did not expect that when the spiritual piglets disappeared this time, the purple piglet did not appear. Yun Chujiu tried a few more times, but the purple piglet still did not appear. Yun Chujiu was furious. "Fuck. Purple piglet, I'm warning you. If you don't appear again, don't ever appear again. You're a spiritual beast, and you're still going to be arrogant with me? Even Xiao He, that black phoenix, doesn't dare to show off in front of me, but you dare to show off in front of me? I think you're looking for trouble. Let me tell you, don't think that I can't teach you a lesson. I'm a genius with a heavenly thunder spirit root, and I don't believe that I can't summon other spiritual beasts. Do you think that I care about a pig like you?" Chapter 21:36 Purple Piglet's good name. After Yun Chujiu grumbled, she raised her hand and released a group of piglets with spiritual power. When the piglets were about to dissipate, the purple piglet appeared. However, it used its butt to face Yun Chujiu, obviously still in a bad mood. Yun Chujiu pouted. "I'll count to 3. If you don't turn around, I've decided to change to a spiritual beast. Anyway, which wolf, tiger, or leopard isn't stronger than a pig like you?" 1, 2, before Yun Chujiu could say 3, the purple piglet turned its head around. It was obviously cowardly. "Humph. At least you know what's good for you. Don't you see what kind of person your master is? He actually dared to quarrel with me. I think you deserve to be taught a lesson. However, I'm a magnanimous person and can reluctantly forgive you. On account of you saving my life, I'll give you a nice name," Yun Chujiu said while stroking her chin. The purple piglet flapped its big ears and wagged its small tail. It was obviously looking forward to Yun Chujiu giving it a name. The 4 animals in the spiritual beast bag looked at each other. That silly pig was going to suffer. The black-hearted owner was useless at giving names. He definitely wouldn't be able to give it a good name. Yun Chujiu touched her chin and scratched her head. Finally, her eyes lit up. "You'll be called De Hua from now on." The purple piglet was so angry that it could barely maintain its body. "De Hua? Are you sure that this is a name that a spiritual beast should have? Besides, where did she spend it? She was clearly purple, all right. Why? Are you not satisfied? Then you shall be called Little Fatso." "Little Fatso?" "Little Piglet." The purple piglet disappeared with a puff. Did this black-hearted master choose a name? One was worse than the other. Yun Chujiu coughed guiltily and said, "Since there is no objection, I will take it as your acquiescence. From now on, you will be called De Hua. I think this name is quite good." The little black bird in the spirit beast bag asked weakly, "Master, that spirit piglet is clearly purple. Why did you name it De Hua?" Xiao Hanio asked why. "It can't be called De Z, right? De Hua is easier to say, so I'll just call it De Hua." Yun Chujiu pouted and said. The little black bird now felt that its name was quite high-end compared to De Hua. "Poor De Hua, I'll light a candle for you," Xiao Hanio thought. Please read on /myboxn0vl.com. While Yun Chujiu was mumbling, she heard someone crazily pounding on the door outside the courtyard. "Open the door. Open the door. Mo Fengjiao. Get out here." Yun Chujiu curled her lips. It turned out that this silly girl, Mo Fangjiao, had come looking for her. Chun Xiao opened the door and let Sister Fangjiao in. Yun Chujiu walked to the door and said to Chun Xiao, who was in a side room. Chun Xiao and Chun Yu were supposed to take turns to be on night duty outside Yun Chujiu's bedroom, but Yun Chujiu found an excuse to not let them be on night duty, so the two of them had to follow Yun Chujiu's arrangements. Chun Xiao opened the door, and Mo Fangjiao walked in angrily. Mo Fangjiao. You're good, you actually dare to lie to me. Yun Chujiu said with a smile, Sister Fangjiao, why do you say that? When have I ever lied to you? You still dare to quibble. Didn't you say that you were going to cause trouble for Sister Fangbing? Why did you become a lackey when you got there? Also, you actually dared to call me a pig and a little bastard in my previous life. You deserve to die. Mo Fangjiao was about to explode from anger when she recalled what happened in the morning. Yun Chujiu waved her hand at Chun Xiao. Chun Xiao, you can leave first. I'll have a private talk with Sister Fangjiao. Chapter 21:37 Tian Dao's favorite. After Chun Xiao went out, Yun Chujiu closed the door and said mysteriously, Sister Fangjiao, you really misunderstood me. I was just acting. Acting? What kind of acting? Mo Fangjiao asked in confusion. Sister Fangjiao, you also know that Sister Fangbing not only has high spiritual power, but her maternal family is also a second-class family. If we openly oppose her, will we have a good ending? So, I'm just acting to make her think that we don't have a good relationship. Then, I'll think of a way to get close to her. Only then will I have a chance to make things difficult for her. Yun Chujiu said slyly. Mo Fangjiao snorted coldly. Humph. Who are you lying to? I don't believe it. Sister Fangjiao, how would I dare to lie to you? I came back after having lunch and dinner in the main room today. Do you know why? Isn't it because I fawned over Sister Fangbing? I'll often go to the main room to wash my face. When the time comes, I'll definitely find a suitable opportunity to embarrass Sister Fangbing. Just wait for my good news. Mo Fangjiao frowned. Although she felt that what Yun Chujiu said made sense, she still felt that something was not right. However, she could not figure out what was wrong. Mo Fangjiao felt that her brain was not enough, so she decided to change the topic. HMPH, let's put this matter aside first. If I find out that you lied to me, I will not forgive you. I heard that you were attacked when you came back. What happened? Sister Fangjiao, you don't know. You scared me to death. When I came back, I met a masked man. Yun Chujiu told her the truth. Since you fainted, how did you not die? Did someone save you? Mo Fangjiao asked in confusion. I don't know either. And there was such a deep pit on the ground. If it was someone who saved me, then the person's spiritual power must be very high. From what you mean, could it be that it was not someone who saved you? Mo Fangjiao asked in surprise. Sister Fangjiao, you also know that I have a heavenly thunder spirit root. Although this heavenly thunder spirit root is not tolerated by the Tian Dao, I have always been living well. Perhaps, not only will I not be killed by the Tian Dao, perhaps the Tian Dao is actually looking out for me. It might be that the earth dragon suddenly turned over, or some other strange phenomenon, so the person who killed me was scared away. Sister Fangjiao, I didn't tell anyone about this. You mustn't tell anyone else. Yun Chujiu said mysteriously. Mo Fangjiu's eyes flashed. Yes, I won't tell anyone. It's getting late. You should rest early. After saying that, Mo Fangjiao walked out of the courtyard quickly, looking a little impatient. Please read on /MYBOXN0VL, the corners of Yun Chujiu's mouth curled up. This divine assistant was really useful. She would probably go and report the situation to Mo Xiaoan right now. The attack today was originally a bad thing, but now it had to be turned into a good thing. It was just the right time to reverse the situation with the Heavenly Thunder Spirit Root. Who said that the Heavenly Spirit Root would be wiped out by the Tian Dao? The Heavenly Spirit Root was the favored child of the Tian Dao. At least in my Yin Chujia's place, I am the favored child. Even if I don't get favored, I will get favored. Just pamper me, just pamper me. Yun Chujia's guess was right. Mo Fangjiao came out of the Broken Moon Pavilion and directly went to see Mo Xiaoan. Mo Xiaoan and his two sons were discussing the attack on Yun Chuzhou today. When they saw Mo Fangjiao coming over, they were a little unhappy. Fangjiao, why did you come here so late at night instead of resting? Chapter 2138 became very popular. Grandfather, I have something important to report to you. I went to see Mo Fangjiao just now. She told me that she might not have been saved by someone. It might have been a sudden phenomenon, such as the earth dragon turning over. That's why the people who came to kill her were scared away. She also told me that although she had a Heavenly Thunder Spirit Root, she didn't feel that Tian Dao wanted to kill her. Maybe she was also Tian Dao's favorite. Mo Fangjiao told Yun Chujia's story. After Mo Xiaoan and his two sons heard Mo Fangjiao's words, although they didn't quite believe it, they felt that it wasn't impossible. After all, the deep pit was too big. If it was caused by human power, then the person's spiritual power was too terrifying. The next morning, when Mo Xiaoan saw Mo Xiaoquan and the others, he repeated Mo Fangjiao's words. When Mo Xiaoquan and the others heard it, they were also skeptical. However, if it wasn't a phenomenon from the sky, who would go and save Mo Fangjiao? After much discussion, everyone tacitly agreed with Yun Chujia's words and turned to the more important matter. Which family was jealous of the Mo family's business? Although Yun Chuzhou wasn't present, the content of the discussion between Mo Xiaoquan and the rest wasn't too far off. Therefore, this fellow was leisurely waiting for news in the fifth room. She felt that no matter which angle the Great Elder was from, it would probably take at least 2 to 3 days before he would want her to go to the main room. Therefore, she just had to wait. The next night, when Yun Chuzhou was sitting cross-legged on the bed and cultivating, she felt an intense pain in her right palm, as if her right hand was being roasted in the fire. She raised her right hand and saw that the flame in her right palm had actually started to grow bigger, as if it was about to rush out from her palm. Yun Chuzhou did not care much and took out a large kitchen knife to cut her right palm. However, there was no flame coming out from her palm. The burning sensation on her palm was even more unbearable than cutting with a knife. Her entire right arm was starting to feel the burning pain. Yun Chuzhou did not know whether it was an illusion or not, but she felt that her right hand was about to smoke. This fellow could not take it anymore. He took out a bucket of cold water from his storage ring and placed his entire right arm in it. Gulp, gulp, the bucket of water boiled very quickly. Please read on /myboxn0vl, Yun Chuzhou wanted to cry, but she had no tears. Damn it, my right hand had become so hot. When the bucket of water boiled, she could only change another bucket of water and repeat the cycle. Fortunately, there was a lot of water in this storage ring. If it was really not possible, she could still get water from the Great Void Mystic Realm. One bucket after another, she did not know how many buckets she had changed. Yun Chuzhou finally felt the burning sensation on her right hand begin to weaken, and it slowly returned to normal, as if what had happened before had never happened. The wound on Yun Chujia's right hand had long healed. The flame became even more bright red, and it was very eye-catching against Yun Chujia's snow-white skin. Yun Chujia's heart was also big. If an ordinary person encountered such a strange thing, they would definitely not be able to sleep and eat in peace. However, seeing that his hand did not hurt anymore, he was also tired from the torment. He laid on the bed and fell asleep immediately. What Yun Chuzhou did not notice was that the large kitchen knife that she had casually thrown on the table emitted a faint glow, especially the blade. It was cold and sharp, and it did not look like the large kitchen knife that had a gap. However, in just an instant, the large kitchen knife returned to its original appearance, as if what had just happened was just an illusion. Chapter 2139. He was not afraid of words. 2 days later, Steward Xie came to visit again. Miss Fang Chao, Miss Fang Bing invites you to her residence as a guest. Yun Chujiu blinked her eyes. Only me. Sister Fang Jiao, are you coming? Steward Xie looked a little unnatural. Miss Fang Bing only invites you. Yun Chujiu nodded. All right, then tell Xiao An's grandfather to send me some guards. What if someone attacks me again? I'm really scared. Although Manager Xie was extremely unwilling, he didn't dare to say anything. After consulting Mo Xiaoan, he sent 5 guards to escort Yun Chujiu to the Mo family's main house. After greeting Mo Xiaoting, Yun Chujiu led the 5 guards to the Mo family's main house. The 5 guards were attended to by the servants in the main house. Meanwhile, Yun Chujiu was brought to Mo Fangbing's courtyard by Kai Yun. Yun Chujiu knew that Mo Fangbing was going to hit her again. Mo Fangbing did not care at all. As long as it was something that came out of her mouth, she was never afraid. Sure enough, after Mo Fangbing saw Yun Chujiu, she coldly said a few words. It was nothing more than a warning to Yun Chujiu to recognize her identity and not to have any improper thoughts. Otherwise, she would be taught a lesson. Sister Fangbing, what you said is all right, and also very reasonable. However, you have to understand one thing. It's not that I have to come. It's the Great Elder who asked me to come. It's better for you to say these words to the Great Elder. Yun Chujiu said with a smile. Mo Fangbing was rendered speechless. You, good. Mo Fangbing, I've really underestimated you. Well, see. Yun Chujiu shrugged her shoulders indifferently. As long as she hugged the Great Elder, Xiao Tingwan, Mo Fangbing was nothing to be afraid of. Although Mo Fangbing wanted to strangle Yun Chujiu to death, she still asked Kai Yun to bring Yun Chujiu outside the Great Elder's courtyard. After Yun Chujiu entered, she saw the Great Elder sitting behind the desk drinking tea. His complexion was also a little better than a few days ago. Greetings, Great Elder. You seem to be in good spirits today. Are you happy to see me here? Yun Chujiu said shamelessly. Please read on /myboxn0vl, the Great Elder almost choked. There was no one else who was so thick-skinned. Have a seat. I think you know my intention for asking you to come this time. I think you can consider your suggestion. However, this matter is of great importance. I can't make a hasty decision. Therefore, I need to observe you for a period of time before making a final decision, the Great Elder said with a serious expression. Great Elder, don't worry. I will definitely perform well, Yun Chujiu said confidently as long as she gave him a chance. Hence, from this day onwards, Yun Chujiu would often be invited to the big house as a guest. Although the people in the Great Elder's bespectacled manner were spouting nonsense, paper could not cover fire. The people from the other 4 houses still knew that Yun Chujiu and the Great Elder were learning alchemy. However, compared to the big house, the people from the other 4 houses were much calmer. If they felt that they should learn, so be it. What else could a little girl who had 5 uniforms do? Although Mo Xiaoan suspected that Guang Xuanji was trying to curry favor with Defang, he felt that it was unlikely. Although Guang Xuanji could earn money, Defang would not risk falling out with the 5th branch and collude with Guang Xuanji, therefore, he did not care too much. That night, Yun Chujiu skipped back to the 5th branch after she finished her meal with the First Elder. After practicing on the bed for a while, she felt a burning pain in her right hand again. Chapter 2140. The Emperor who turned into a goose. During this period of time, Yun Chujiu's right hand would feel a burning sensation every now and then. At first, Yun Chujio found it hard to bear it and needed a lot of buckets of water to relieve it. Later on, she might have become numb and would be relieved after soaking in the water for a while. Yun Chujio took out a bucket of water from her storage ring and put her right hand in it. Soon, a bucket of originally cold well water began to heat up. This fellow also knew how to make fun of himself. He said self-deprecatingly, "This is not bad. At least I don't need to boil the bath water. I can wait for this bucket of water to cool down a little before I take a bath." After a while, the temperature of the water dropped. This fellow took off his inner clothes and took a bath in the bathtub. At this moment, the door of the outer room opened. Di Baiming's voice came, "Little Jiu, I'm here to see you." Originally, the door was inserted from the inside, but this was too easy for Di Baiming. He broke the door bolt with one slap. Yun Chujio heard the door and wanted to put on her clothes. At the very least, she had to cover herself with a blanket. However, when she heard Di Baiming's voice, she blinked her eyes and did not move. She continued to bathe happily. When Di Baiming entered the bedroom, he saw a big bathtub in the middle of the room. Yun Chujio's long hair that was as black as ink and her shoulders were faintly discernible. Her small face was slightly flushed due to the heat. She looked at him with a smile. Di Baiming felt that the blood in his body was boiling and he did not know what to say. He just stared at Yun Chujio in a daze and did not say anything. Yun Chujio lifted a handful of water and splashed it on Di Baiming's face. "Hey! Silly goose, are you stupid?" Di Baiming finally regained his senses. His face turned red and he said in embarrassment, "You should be more careful in the shower. Fortunately, I'm the one who came in. What if someone else came in?" Yun Chujio pouted and said, "I locked the door properly. Besides, I heard your voice, so I didn't get up. If it was someone else, I would have used the sudden rupture talisman to blast them." Di Baiming did not hear what Yun Chujio said because his full attention was on Yun Chujio's red lips and her half-exposed shoulder. If it were not for his willpower, he would have eaten Yun Chujio apart and eaten her whole. Please read on /MYBOXN0VL. Di Baiming forced himself to turn around and said through gritted teeth, "You, put on your clothes first. We can talk later." Yun Chujio knew that if the gun went off, she would be the one to suffer. After all, her menarche had never come. If they really had sex, it would definitely hurt her body. Yun Chujio put on her clothes and said with a smile, "My idol, I'm dressed. Turn around." Di Baiming did not turn around. Instead, he said, "Put away the bathtub and then clean up the floor." Yun Chujio did not suspect him. She put away the bathtub obediently. Even the water on the floor was wiped clean with a cloth. Then, she sat on the bed and said, "My Prince Charming, it's all right now. Come over." Di Baiming did not turn around. Instead, he said dryly, "Well, it's a little hot in that room. It's cooler here. I'll go over in a while." Yun Chujio was very smart. She immediately felt that there was something wrong with this place. With a whoosh, she jumped in front of Di Baiming and discovered the reason for Di Baiming's abnormality. It turned out that when Di Baiming heard the rustling sound of Yun Chujio putting on her clothes, he could not help but outline Yun Chujio's figure. Naturally, he had an indescribable reaction. Chapter 2141, The Ancient Evil Formation. Di Baiming saw Yun Chujio looking down and shouted angrily, "Turn around. What's there to be embarrassed about? Besides, it's not like I haven't seen it before. What's the point of being stingy?" Although this guy was saying all sorts of things, he was still a little embarrassed. However, if you have the ability, don't blush. If you have the ability, don't turn around. This was a typical case of a thief with a heart but no guts. For a moment, the atmosphere in the room was very subtle. This was naturally the most suitable time to have sex. However, Yun Chujio's physical condition did not allow it, so the two of them did not know what to say. The most unlucky one was of course Guai Chao. Yun Chuzhou cursed it in her heart. If Guai Chao was not in Yun Chujia's dantian, Yun Chuzhou would have tortured it to death thousands of times by now. Di Baiming forced himself not to look at Yun Chuzhou. However, his mind was still filled with erotic images. His body became even hotter. He wished he could swallow Yun Chuzhou right away. Yun Chuzhou coughed dryly. That Prince Charming, let's change the topic. A few days ago, I saw Big Brother Mermaid in the 1,000-feet mountain poison miasma forest. When Di Baiming heard the words Brother Mermaid, his attention was immediately diverted. His face sank. Why is that mermaid in the immortal Yuan continent? I don't know either. At that time, there was a poisonous spring. After I absorbed all the poison inside, Brother Mermaid floated out. However, it wasn't Brother Mermaid himself. It should be his divine sense. In the end, he wanted to tell me to be careful of something or someone, but his divine sense dissipated before he could finish speaking. Yun Chuzhou told Di Baiming what happened that day. Di Baiming pondered for a moment. According to what I know, there was an ancient evil formation. It divided a person's divine sense into several parts and then used all kinds of poison to suppress it. Over time, the divine sense would be corroded by the poison. This kind of evil formation is usually not easy to use because it's too difficult to set up, unless it's used to deal with some people or demonic beasts with special parts of the body. Yun Chuzhou was stunned at first, then, she said angrily, "Damn it. Which old bastard hates the mermaid brother so much? This method is too sinister. Why didn't he just kill the mermaid brother directly, but tortured him like this?" There are two possibilities. One is that there is something special about the mermaid's body, and there is no way to kill it. The other possibility is that he wants to control the mermaid's spiritual sense and use it for himself. Di Baiming said with a serious expression. He felt that the mermaid man's matter probably involved a shocking secret. Damn it. It's really too damn. When I find that old bastard, I will definitely help Brother Mermaid deal with him. Oh right, Prince Charming, how did you suddenly become so knowledgeable and talented? Yun Chuzhou asked with starry eyes. Maybe it's because a part of my seal has been broken, so I know more things. However, I still don't know anything about the strange grass in your dantian. But, don't worry, I will definitely think of a way to help you get rid of the Guai Chao. Di Baiming said with certainty. The Guai Chao in Yun Chujia's dantian was trembling non-stop. It's over, it's over. After this damn gigolo's seal is completely broken, it will be the time for me to lose my life. What should I do? Pa. 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 His seal should last for at least 10,000 years. No, it should never be broken. Please read on /myboxn0vl.com. Yes, my Prince Charming, I believe in you. Right, look at this thing in my palm. What the hell is this? I don't need anything else to boil water now. I can just use my right hand to boil water. Yun Chuzhou pouted and extended her right hand in front of Di Baiming. Chapter 2142 The Origin of the Flame. Di Baiming looked down and saw a cluster of bright red flame on Yun Chujia's fair palm. It was very eye-catching. This, little Jiu, what's going on? Don't mention it. Originally, I wanted to take advantage of it. Who would have thought that there was actually such a damn thing locked inside the stone wall? I clearly killed it in my spiritual sense. I don't know how it got into my palm. Yun Chuzhou said angrily. Tell me the whole story, the whole story. Di Baiming frowned. Since it could heat up, it meant that this flame pattern was not as simple as the pattern. Yun Chuzhou told him the whole story. My Prince Charming, what is this damn flame? I have already let the spiritual pig devour it. How come it hasn't died yet? Di Baiming sighed. Little Jiu, I don't know if this is a blessing in disguise or a blessing in disguise. This flame has a great origin. It should be the 10,000-year-old fire marrow that everyone couldn't find. Debaiming was interrupted by Yun Chujio. This guy asked excitedly, what? 10,000-year-old fire marrow? Ha ha ha. Isn't it the 10,000-year-old fire marrow that can melt the 10,000-year-old black iron? So I can make 10,000 years of black iron puppets, ha ha ha, when the time comes, who else? Who else? Small 9, I haven't finished talking, you don't happy too early. Debaiming simply cannot bear to look straight, to a bit of sunshine on the brilliant said is this guy. What meaning? Yun Chujio is a bit muddle-headed. Although the fire marrow in your palm is 10,000 years old, the implement spirit of the fire marrow has been killed by you, so now the fire marrow in your palm has no intelligence. Qi Ling said. In other words, you're not its master at all. You're just its temporary shelter. Unless it has intelligence again, you can only use the 10,000-year-old fire marrow as you like after you subdue it. What the hell? After all this time, this is just a useless thing. My life is so bitter. 1 or 2 of them came uninvited, but none of them were useful. That damn Xiao Hei said that he was a black phoenix, but I think he's just a big crow. That Xiao Hei rat is a stone-eating rat. In reality, other than digging holes, he doesn't know shit. That Xiao Hong is always hugging the bones of the 9-tailed fox and gnawing on them. But now, it has only grown 4 tails. That Xiao Mogu is even more detestable. When I first saw it, it was awe-inspiring. But now? It was simply a weakling. Damn it, it even asked me to put a pile of soil in the spirit beast pouch and place large cloves of garlic on it all day long. Woo-woo, and the 3 in my dantian. Each of them was more shameless than the last. They occupied my dantian and did not come out. The most important thing was that they were completely useless. That damned dog tail caused me to be unable to eat meat even if I wanted to. I could only touch you to satisfy my craving, I'm really too miserable. Yun Chujio hugged Debaiming's snot and tears. Her hands were not idle as she continued to touch him. Please read on /MYBOXN0VL, Debaiming felt that a certain part of his body was about to explode. He could not bear it anymore. He carried Yun Chujio horizontally and pressed her on the bed. Yun Chujio saw the deep look in Debaiming's eyes. This guy was afraid. It was over. He had gone too far. The gigolo was going to force himself on her. What should she do? Although she wanted to have sex, her body was not strong enough. What if it would affect her ability to give birth to monkeys in the future? Well, my Prince Charming, emptiness is lust, lust is emptiness. Calm down, calm down. Don't judge me by my good looks. In fact, I'm just a little fairy who absorbs people's blood essence. What are you doing? Don't take my clothes off. Chapter 2143 Mini Glutinous Rice Balls. Yun Chujio was really scared this time. The inner garment on her body was torn to shreds by Debaiming, and only the inner garment was left on Debaiming. This fellow deeply understood 2 sentences. He had brought this upon himself, and another sentence was, if he didn't do it, he wouldn't die. Debaiming's deep gaze swept across Yun Chujio's body, and Yun Chujio couldn't help but tremble slightly. She was both embarrassed and afraid. She stuttered, "Look, what are you looking at?" I haven't had any waves yet." "Look, what are you looking at?" Debaiming's Adam's apple bobbed. "Even though I don't have a big bun, I can make do with a small steamed bun." You are shameless. Sob, you only know how to bully me. Do you think I want a small steamed bun? It's still a damn guai chow. Sob, you all bully me. This fellow was both embarrassed and angry. He simply howled again. "Alright, stop crying, I won't touch you." Di Biming sighed, picked up the blanket and covered Yun Chujia's body, while he lay on the other side. How could he not care about what Yun Chujia's body really wanted? He just wanted to scare Yun Chujio so that she would not always fan the flames, but not put out the fire, which would make him want to explode. Woo woo, but you don't like me as a little dumpling. This guy was crying even harder. Sigh. Don't say that you are a little dumpling, you are. I like Tang Yuan too. Di Biming's face turned red after he said that. Yun Chujio was stunned. She lifted the blanket and looked at her chest. It was really not as big as a little dumpling. It was really a Tang Yuan, and it was a mini Tang Yuan. This fellow cursed Go Weiba a few hundred times in anger before hugging Di Biming and acting coquettishly. Prince Charming, I knew you were the best. This fellow was really big-hearted. He did not think that he was naked now and was hugging Di Biming just like that. Unless Di Biming was a eunuch, how could he bear it? Di Biming felt that he had dug a deep hole for himself. On one hand, his body was so hot that it was about to explode. On the other hand, he could not hurt his sweetheart's rationality. He was on the verge of breaking down. Di Biming's forehead was covered with fine beads of sweat. You put on your clothes first. Yun Chujio finally realized that something was wrong. She picked up the blanket and covered her face. Damn it, she was too ashamed to see anyone. Please read on /myboxn0vl, This guy was embarrassed and angry. He cursed Go Weiba again. Damn it. Damn Go Weiba. If it wasn't for you, would I have had to endure so much? Such a perfect Prince Charming is placed in front of me. I can only see but not touch him. It's so painful that I want to die. Di Biming listened by the side and thought to himself, this line should be mine, right? You endured so much. I'm about to explode. Yun Chujio cursed for a while before taking out a set of undergarments from her storage ring. She hid under the blanket and changed into it. Only then did she get out from under the blanket. Yun Chujio's face was blushing. She was really as beautiful as a peach blossom, especially her two red lips. Di Biming couldn't resist any more and kissed her. Although he could not eat all the black stuff, it would be good to collect a deposit first. Just as Di Biming's lips covered Yun Chujio's lips, the voice transmission talisman in the storage ring started to vibrate. He originally did not plan to respond, but someone knocked on the door. Your Majesty, someone is coming. Anfeng's heart was broken. He knew that His Majesty's Xiao He must have written him a debt, but he had no choice. If someone came and barged in, it would be bad. Chapter 2144, Guai Chao's ridicule, fuck off. Settle it yourself. If you can't settle it, I'll settle it myself. Di Biming was already very angry even though he couldn't eat the big meal. Now that he was interrupted just as he was about to eat a small snack, one could imagine the depression in his heart. The miserable dark wind had a confused look on his face. Settle it himself? How should he settle it? Could it be that he killed the person who came? If it was in the past, this fellow might have thought that Di Biming's words were just to scare him. But now, he was not sure about this evil star who was getting colder and colder. It was better for him to solve it obediently. The person who came was Mo Fangjiao. She was basically used to coming to Yun Chujio's place every now and then to gather information. If she did not come in a few days, she would feel that she was lacking something. She originally didn't want to come over today, but when she thought about the news she heard, she couldn't sit still. Although it was already late, she still ran over. Anfeng saw that Mo Fangjiao was alone and didn't bring a maid, so he gritted his teeth. No matter what, he had to knock her unconscious first. He would let Ninth Miss handle the aftermath. After all, Ninth Miss was resourceful and could do anything she wanted. Open the door. Mo Fangjiao, open the door quickly. I have something important to ask you, Mo Fangjiao said as she knocked on the door. And Feng cursed in his heart. Something important. What was important? No matter how important it was, there was still our superior's unsatisfied desires. Ah, was intimacy important? And Feng opened the door from the inside. Mo Fangjiao was a little puzzled. The door was open. Where was the maid who opened the door? Before she could react, An Feng swung his knife and knocked Mo Fangjiao unconscious on the ground. An Feng could not help but let out a long breath. Fortunately, it was night time, and it was a sneak attack. Otherwise, it would not have been easy to succeed. He was not as perverted as his lord. The two maids fainted just by swinging their sleeves. An Feng closed the door again. He was afraid that Mo Fangjiao would not faint completely, so he smelled some sleeping powder for her. Only then did he feel at ease. At this moment, Di Baiming and Yin Chujiu did not have the time to care about who was in the room. As they were kissing each other, Di Baiming reached his hand into Yin Chujiu's clothes. The two of them trembled and started kissing even more intensely. After a long time, the two of them reluctantly separated. Di Baiming only had one thought in his mind. No matter what, he had to get rid of the damn Guai Chao. Otherwise, if he kept holding it in, it would really kill him. Please read on /myboxn0vl, Yin Chujia's eyes were watery, and a thought flashed through her mind. If she could get rid of the Guai Chao, she would have to fight with the pretty boy for 3 days and 3 nights. The Guai Chao thought that it might be the most hateful grass in the world, but there was nothing it could do. It also wanted to grow in other places, but it could not find a suitable place. Besides, why did this black-hearted little girl remember to fight and not eat? Who helped her to be immune to all poisons? Who helped her summon demonic beasts? Who helped her resist the heat? If it wasn't for this black-hearted little girl, she would have died hundreds of times. Didn't it just stop 2 people from having sex? What was so bad about that? It had even made a huge contribution to the late marriage and late childbirth. Humph. If Yin Chujiu knew the thoughts of Guai Chao, she would probably turn it into a specimen. It was the kind of powder specimen. Little Jiu, by the way, I came here mainly to hear from An Feng that you were attacked. Who wants to kill you? Di Baiming's eyes revealed a trace of viciousness. The Yi family, which is also my grandfather's family. Yun Chujiu told him what happened. Although the Yi family is a first-class family, to me, it's no problem to kill them all. Do you need me to kill them all? Di Baiming thought about how Yun Chujiu was almost killed. He did not care about the bullshit 3-year pact. He wished that he could kill all the members of the Yi family to vent his anger. Chapter 2145, A silly goose with a lump in its head. Yun Chujiu shook her head when she heard Di Baiming's words. Prince Charming, I appreciate your kindness. You know that I'm not a pretentious person, but it's better for me to settle this matter by myself. Firstly, I can't be sure that all the people in my grandfather's family are bastards. I have to check them out first. Secondly, you can't always protect me. It's better for me to become stronger by myself. Di Baiming's eyes twitched. Was it really appropriate to use the word bastard to describe his grandfather's family? Di Baiming took out a jade token from his storage ring and handed it to Yun Chujiu. Oh right, little Jiu, this is for you. This jade token is a defensive immortal tool. It can at least withstand a fatal blow from the 5th layer of the ethereal space realm. Where did you get it? Yun Chujiu took it and looked at it. Defensive spirit tools and immortal tools usually had a hard time producing a tool spirit. After refining it, it could be used directly by Qi Ling 1. I got it after killing some people. I also transferred some defensive spirit tools to you. I don't need it. Di Baiming said and transferred many defensive spirit tools to Yun Chujiu. Yun Chujiu knew that it was not that Di Baiming did not need it, but he was worried about her. She blinked her starry eyes and pecked at the corner of Di Biming's mouth. If you give it to me, I will keep it. But you must be careful. Di Biming nodded. You don't have to worry about me. I have already made some progress in my matter. You just have to focus on your cultivation. Yun Chujiu knew that Di Biming was going to leave again. She felt a little bitter in her heart, but she knew that there was no other way. In this place where the strong preyed on the weak, only the strong had the right to say no. Prince Charming, this is for you. Yun Chujiu took out a wooden box from her storage ring. Di Biming's expression changed. He opened it and saw that there were more than 10 small porcelain bottles inside. When he uncorked the bottle, it was indeed Yun Chujiu's blood. Di Biming's heart was filled with pain, anger, and even more self-blame. With a cold expression, he said to Yun Chujiu, Little Jiu, this is the last time. If you still secretly bleed behind my back next time, I will bleed twice as much for you to see. Yun Chujiu. Pretty boy, are we competing to see who can hurt themselves more? You idiot. Di Biming said as he put on his coat. Although the expression on his face was still very serious, his eyes were full of reluctance and concern. He gritted his teeth. Remember what I said. I'm leaving. If the Yi family makes things difficult for you again, or if you have a problem that you can't solve, you must tell me. You are reading on MYBOXN0VEL.com. Yun Chujiu also put on her coat and nodded obediently, and, Prince Charming, don't worry. Although my spiritual power is a little weak, I won't fight them head-on. I'll play dirty with them. Di Biming's face stiffened. There was no one who could say dirty things so confidently. Yun Chujiu sent Di Biming out of the house. And Feng saw that the two of them had finally come out and heaved a sigh of relief in his heart. He was so nervous that he was about to die. He was afraid that someone would come over again. Di Biming kissed Yun Chujiu on the forehead and left with Feng. Feng pointed at Mo Fangjiao who was lying on the ground. When he saw Yun Chujiu nod her head, Feng wanted to say something but hesitated. He thought for a while and left. Yun Chujiu looked at Mo Fangjiao who was lying on the ground and thought of the two maids who were unconscious in the side room. She rolled her eyes and helped Mo Fangjiao into the house. Yun Chujiu placed Mo Fangjiao on the chair and smelled the antidote for the sleeping powder. When Mo Fangjiao opened her eyes, she saw a female ghost with disheveled hair and red lips standing in front of her. She was so scared that she almost fainted again. Chapter 2146, Ghosts. Ghosts. Mo Fangjiao screamed in fear. Sister Fangjiao, are you possessed? Where is the female ghost? Besides, is there such a beautiful female ghost? Yun Chujiu curled her lips and said. Mo Fangjiao had just woken up and was a little confused. Now that she looked carefully, she realized that the female ghost in front of her was Yun Chujiu. Why are you letting your hair down for no reason? Sister Fangjiao, what time is it? Isn't it normal for my hair to be let down when I sleep? Then what's wrong with your lips? Why are they swollen? Yun Chujiu finally understood the look in Feng's eyes before he left. It turned out that the battle with Di Biming was too intense and his lips were red and swollen. This guy said without changing his expression, don't mention it. I suddenly had a craving for spicy food. I ate a lot of spicy food just now, so my lips became like this. I opened the door for you just now because I was afraid that you would see me embarrass myself, so I hid behind the door. Who would have thought that Sister Fangjiao would faint? You scared me to death. Are you alright? Did you leave in a hurry or are you hungry because you didn't eat tonight? Mo Fangjiao was also frightened and didn't recall the details. Moreover, she never dreamed that she was knocked out by someone. Therefore, Mo Fangjiao was confused. Why did she faint for no reason? Sister Fangjiao, I guess you are hungry. Come, I have some snacks from the main room. Eat a few pieces. Yun Chujiu took out a plate of pastries and placed it on the table. Mo Fangjiao really wasn't full that night, so she casually picked up a piece and ate it. Yun Chujiu's eyes flickered a few times. As long as she ate something, the sleeping powder wouldn't be detected. Even if she wanted to check, she wouldn't be able to find anything. Mo Fangjiao ate 2 pieces of pastries and remembered the purpose of her visit. She hurriedly said, "Tomorrow, Sister Fangbing's maternal family and Zhu family's relatives will come. Have you heard?" Yun Chujiu shook her head. "I've been studying alchemy in the Great Elder's study today and haven't seen Sister Fangbing. Besides, what does her maternal family have to do with us?" "You are reading on MYBOXN0VEL, Mo Fangjiao pursed her lips. "Are you stupid? Why doesn't it have anything to do with us? Sister Fangbing's maternal family is a second-class family. Maybe she came here to look for a suitable junior. This is a good opportunity for her to soar to the sky. Tomorrow, you find an excuse to bring me along, do you understand?" Yun Chujiu finally understood why Mo Fangjiao came to look for her in the middle of the night. It turned out that she wanted to turn from a sparrow into a phoenix. TSK, I have to say, Mo Fangjiu's brain was still enough on this matter. She knew that she would create an opportunity for herself. "Sister Fangjiao, although this matter is a little difficult, but who is with whom?" "No problem. Leave this matter to me. Tomorrow morning, you and I will go to the main room together." Yun Chujiu promised with a smile. Mo Fangjiao saw that Yun Chujiu agreed so readily and was very satisfied. She did not have the time to pursue the matter of her fainting just now. Her mind was full of thoughts on how to dress for the next day. Mo Fangjiao gave a few more perfunctory words and then left in a hurry. Yun Chujiu did not bother about Chun Xiao and Chun Yu. In any case, the 2 of them would wake up tomorrow morning. This fellow was lying on the bed, suffering from insomnia that was hard to come by in 1,000 years. She thought about de-biming, looked at her right palm, and thought about the matter between the Yi family and the merman. She felt very troubled and did not feel sleepy for a long time. However, this fellow's mental adjustment ability was very strong. After a while, he finally fell asleep. Chapter 2147 The Zhu family. The next morning, Yun Chujiu opened her eyes. The corner of her mouth curled up. A new day had begun. Xiao Hanio, who was inside the spiritual beast bag, could not help but sigh inwardly. He had to admit that this black-hearted master was really tenacious. He would not give up or retreat no matter how big the difficulties were. Yun Chujiu had not even washed up when Mo Fangjiao ran over. Her face was covered with meticulous makeup, and the clothes on her body were obviously carefully selected. "Fangjiao, why are you only getting up? Hurry up!" Mo Fangjiao urged impatiently. Yun Chujiu waved her hand. "Sister Fangjiao, we can't go too early. Otherwise, Sister Fangbing will find a reason to chase you out. You won't even have the chance to meet the Zhu family. Why don't we go a little later? We just happened to bump into each other. Sister Fangbing can't chase us out, right?" Mo Fangjiao was stunned. She felt that what Yun Chujiu said made sense, and the smile on her face became much more sincere. "You're really a little smart. All right, I'll listen to you." 2 hours later, Yun Chujiu brought Mo Fangjiao to the Mo family's main house. Yun Chujiu had been coming to the main house almost every day these days, so the guards in the main house knew her. Originally, the higher-ups could have just let Yun Chujiu in, but seeing that Yun Chujiu was bringing Mo Fangjiao with her, the guard could only say respectfully, "Please wait a moment, my 2 ladies. I'll go in and report." "Go ahead. Just say that Sister Fangjiao and I are here to pay our respects to Grandfather Xiaoquan and Grandmother Tian," Yun Chujiu said with a smile. Everyone in the main room's living room was discussing the matter of receiving the Zhu family's people. After hearing the report from the servants, Mo Fangbing's mother, Zhu, curled her lips. Zhu sure thought to herself, these two little girls were not paying respects to her father-in-law and mother-in-law. They clearly knew that her family's people were coming over, so they came. In her dreams, it was not their turn to arrange the marriage. Let them in. Mo Xiaoquan and old Madame Tian were both well-versed in the ways of the world. They could naturally think of anything that Zhu Shi could think of. Although they were unhappy, they could not shut the two juniors out. Moreover, this marriage was not something that the two little girls could snatch away just like that. Yun Chujiu and Mo Fangjiao entered the living room and naturally greeted them. The people in the main house were neither cold nor warm, especially Mo Fangbing, whose eyes were filled with disdain. Yun Chujiu was a thick-skinned person and did not take it seriously at all. Although Mo Fangjiao felt uncomfortable all over, when she thought of the glory of marrying into a second-class family, she could not care less about being embarrassed. Therefore, even though Mo Xiaoquan had already raised his teacup, the two of them still had no intention of leaving. You are reading on MYBOXN0VEL.com. At this moment, a servant came over to report that the Zhu family had arrived. Mo Xiaoquan and the Tian family were elders, so it was naturally not good for them to go out to welcome them. Thus, the Zhu family brought Mo Junkan and Mo Fangbing out to welcome them. After a while, a wife who was about the same age as the Zhu family came in with two maids and a young man. When Yun Chujiu saw the young man's appearance, she was shocked. Fuck! Wasn't this the Jiao Xiaoyan she met in Thunder City back then? Back then, he even fought with her over the courtyard. What was more hateful was that when they were about to leave Thunder Disaster Valley, this Jiao Xiaoyan even asked his subordinate to push her. Very good, it's not too late for little Jiao to take revenge. The opportunity is here. Well, see. The moment the young man entered, his gaze turned towards Mo Fangjiao. When he saw Yun Chujiu, he was also stunned. Smelly girl, why are you here? Chapter 2148 continued. Everyone's attention was immediately attracted by Jiao Shaoyan's words. That madam could not help but glare at Jiao Xiaoyan. Don't be rude. Hurry up and bow to your elders. Jiao Xiaoyan pursed his lips. In his heart, he did not think much of the Mo family. They were just a small family that had just squeezed into the third class. What kind of elders were they? However, he remembered his purpose and could only pretend to bow to Mo Xiaoquan and old Madame Tian. The madam who came was the wife of the first brother of the Zhu family, Pan Shi, while Jiao Xiaoyan was the second son of the Pan family, Zhu Jinghu. Mo Xiaoquan and old Madame Tian gave generous gifts for their meeting. Seeing that the gifts were very generous, Jiao Xiaoyan's attitude became a little better. After everyone exchanged pleasantries, Mo Fangbing's eyes flickered as she said, Cousin Jinghu, have you seen Sister Fangchao before? Jiao Xiaoyan, who was also Zhu Jinghu, snorted coldly. Cousin Fangbing, I didn't expect this trash to be your cousin. Last time in Thunder City, she fought with me for the courtyard, but in the end, she still obediently gave the courtyard to me. Stinky girl, I thought you died in Thunder Disaster Valley. I didn't expect you to still be alive. Yun Chujiu looked at him indifferently. Young Master Zhu, we are all relatives. It's not good for you to hurt people, right? Relatives? Humph. Just your Mo family, Jinghu. Don't be rude. Pan Shi was afraid that Zhu Jinghu would say something inappropriate, so she quickly stopped him. Zhu Jinghu glared at Yun Chujiu and didn't say anything else. Mo Xiaoquan didn't feel dissatisfied with Zhu Jinghu when he saw the situation. Instead, he felt that it was all Yun Chujiu's fault, and he was even more displeased with Yun Chujiu. However, due to his embarrassment, he directly kicked her out, so he could only give old Madame Tian a look. Old Madame Tian smiled and said, Fangchao girl, why didn't you go to your eldest great-grandfather's courtyard today? Grandmother Tian, I like a lively crowd the most. There are guests at home today, so I wanted to join in the fun. You don't want to kick me out, do you? Yun Chujio said with a smile. Old Madame Tian's face stiffened. What are you talking about, little girl? Why would I chase you away? I'm just afraid that your great-grandfather will miss you. You are reading on MYBOXN0VEL, Grandmother Tian, don't worry. The great-grandfather happened to have something to do this morning. I'll go see him in the afternoon. Little fellow, you want to chase me away? No way. Old Madame Tian gave Mo Xiaoquan a look. What she meant was that this fellow's skin was too thick and he couldn't be chased away. The Pan family was very shrewd. When she saw the situation, she could guess some clues and couldn't help but feel disdain in her heart. A third-class family was just unrated and didn't have any rules. It was better to complete the matter and leave this place as soon as possible. Uncle, Auntie, to be honest, I came here for two things. The first thing was that Jing Hu's wife passed away half a year ago, so I planned to help him look for a girl to be his second wife. If the Mo family had a suitable girl, and Jing Hu happened to like her, then we would settle the marriage. The second thing was that my mother-in-law's health had not been very good. It was not easy to get a famous doctor to treat her, but she needed the 7-leaf hollow grass as a medicinal primer. Jing Hu was filial and once went to the Lightning Tribulation Valley to look for it, but unfortunately, he did not find it. I also found out by chance that the great elder of your residence had once happened to obtain a 7-leaf hollow grass by chance. I wonder if he still has it. If he does, our Zhu family is willing to pay a high price to purchase it. If he doesn't have it, please tell me where he is going. Lady Pan explained her purpose for coming. Although her words were rather polite, her attitude was high and mighty. Lady Pan's words clearly carried a sense of coercion. She was determined to obtain the 7-leaf hollow grass. If the Mo family didn't hand it over, she would be putting pressure on them. Chapter 2149 Pan Shi's proposal for a second marriage was just a bargaining chip. Even if it was a second marriage, it would still be a second marriage for the son of a second-class family. Moreover, the late wife did not leave behind a man and half a woman, so this marriage was no different from a legitimate marriage. Therefore, in the eyes of many people, marrying Zhu Jinghu as a second marriage was a great thing. The Zhu family's plan was very obvious. They planned to let Mo Fongbing marry into the family. She had once tried to fix up this matter, but the Pan family did not care about the Mo family's family background at all, so she directly rejected it. A few days ago, during Mo Junkin's wedding, Mo Yonghui had drunk too much and spilled the beans. He said that the great elder had a 7-leaf hollow grass. The Zhu family felt that this was a great opportunity, so they sent a letter to the Pan family. That was why the Pan family brought Zhu Jinghu over. Although Mo Xiaoquan was a little displeased with the arrogance in the Pan family's words, he didn't take it to heart. After all, the Zhu family was a second-class family, while the Mo family was barely a third-class family. The two families' strengths were vastly different. Mo Xiaoquan said in a deep voice, "How about this? You guys stay here first. I'll go ask my father if he has the 7-leaf hollow grass. Then, we can discuss the next matter." Hearing Mo Xiaoquan's words, Pan Shi had a 90% confidence that the Mo family's great elder really did have the 7-leaf hollow grass. This was also good. If she got the 7-leaf hollow grass, she would be able to win the favor of her mother-in-law. As for Mo Fongbing, although her family background was a little poor, her aptitude was not bad. Moreover, Jing Hu was not the eldest son, so the candidate for a second marriage was about right. Pan Shi politely said a few words, then got up and planned to bring Zhu Jinghu to the guest house. Unexpectedly, Zhu Jinghu walked up to Mo Fangjiao and pretended to be suave as he said, "Sister Fangjiao, this is my first time coming to Fuhu City. If you have nothing to do, accompany me for a walk." Everyone in the room was stunned. Mo Fangbing's eyes were practically spitting fire. This Mo Fangjiao was indeed a shameless slut. She dressed beautifully just to seduce her cousin. She really deserved to die. Pan Shi frowned. If Jing Hu wanted to marry, he could only marry Mo Fangbing. This was because only the Mo family's eldest son had 7-leafed hollow grass. Moreover, this Mo Fangjiao was obviously restless. She was not worthy of marrying into the Zhu family. Jing Hu, let your cousin Fangbing accompany you for a walk. If it's convenient for these two ladies, they can accompany you. If it's not convenient, then it's not troublesome. Pan Shi's words were vague, however, the subtext was to tell Mo Fangjiao and Yun Chujiao to get lost and not to be an eyesore. Mo Fangjiao wanted to marry into the Zhu family, so how could she let go of such an opportunity? She pretended not to understand Pan Shi's meaning and quickly said, "Auntie, I happen to be free today, so I'll accompany Jing Hu for a walk." Yun Chujia's mouth twitched in her heart. This Mo Fangjiao really had a brain. Lady Pan did not take a fancy to her at all. Moreover, this was a transaction between the Zhu family and the big house. No matter how happy she was, she would not marry her. What was the point of her being proactive? However, this fellow liked to fan the flames and fish in troubled waters the most, so she echoed from the side, "Yes, I don't have anything to do. Let's go together. It can just resolve the misunderstanding between me and young Master Zhu." You are reading on MYBOXN0VEL, Mo Fangbing's hands were tightly clenched in her sleeves. Mo Fangjiao, Mo Fangchao, these two bitches, I won't let you off. Zhu Jinghu was rather pleased with himself. Of course, he knew that the Pans wanted him to marry Mo Fangbing, but he felt that Mo Fangbing's ice-cold personality was really not interesting. She was not as pleasing to the eye as Mo Fangjiao. As for that Mo Fangchao, it was fine to follow. It was a good opportunity to take care of her when the time came. Chapter 21. 52 Women vying for a husband. Pan Shi held her own status and did not say anything else. She only gave Zhu Jinghu a warning look, telling him not to act recklessly. Zhu Jinghu smiled indifferently and gave a perfunctory bow to Mo Xiaoan and old Madame Tian. Then, he brought Mo Fangbing and the other two out of the large room. Along the way, Zhu Jinghu and Mo Fangjiao chatted and laughed. Although Mo Fangbing was half-dead angry, her personality was cold and arrogant. She could not be as soft-spoken as Mo Fangjiao, so her expression became even gloomier. Zhu Jinghu did not like Mo Fangbing's ice-cold appearance to begin with. Now that he saw her ugly expression, he was even more displeased. He was here to marry a wife, not a resentful wife. It was boring. Zhu Jinghu originally wanted to take the opportunity to teach Yun Chujiao a lesson, but his thoughts were all seduced by Mo Fangjiao. He did not think of finding trouble with Yun Chujiao for a while. Yun Chujiao happily followed behind the three of them to watch the show. She felt that the days to come would be very exciting. TSK, two women fighting for a husband, and she was even a cousin. It was beautiful. The four of them strolled around and it was time for lunch. "Brother Jinghu, I'm a little hungry." Mo Fangjiao directly turned her cousin into a brother. Zhu Jing's heart softened when she called him. "Sister Fangjiao, since you're hungry, let's go to the restaurant across the street for lunch. Order whatever you want, it's my treat." Zhu Jinghu said as he held Mo Fangjiao's hand. Mo Fangbing couldn't take it anymore and said coldly, "Cousin, let's go back to the manor for lunch. Maybe great-grandfather already has news." Mo Fangbing said this to remind Zhu Jinghu not to forget the purpose of his visit. Moreover, he could only marry her. Although Zhu Jinghu was lustful, he knew that a small arm couldn't beat a big thigh. He could only marry Mo Fangbing, this cold beauty. All right. It's really troublesome. Sister Fangjiao, let's go out for a walk tomorrow. When the time comes, I'll go to your residence to look for you, Zhu Jinghu said to Mo Fangjiao with a smile. He decided to use some tricks to get Mo Fangjiao. When the time came, he would let her be a concubine. After all, the rice had already been cooked. She had to marry whether she wanted to or not. Mo Fangjiao's face blushed. Brother Jinghu, I'll wait for you at the residence tomorrow. Don't disappoint me. Zhu Jinghu looked at Mo Fangjiao's bashful appearance and wished he could get her on the bed right away. However, Mo Fangbing glared at him from the side and could only reluctantly follow Mo Fangbing away. You are reading on MYBOXN0VEL, Mo Fangjiao stared at Zhu Jinghu's back until she could no longer see him. Only then did she withdraw her gaze. Yun Chuzhou watched from the side coldly. She was conflicted about whether she should get involved in this mess. She could conclude that no matter how much Mo Fangjiao tossed and turned, the best result would be to marry Zhu Jinghu as a concubine. Moreover, no matter how she compared it, Mo Fangjiao would not be able to defeat Mo Fangbing after marriage. Zhu Jinghu was just trying to be fresh. Although her relationship with Mo Fangjiao was not very good, and there was even a bit of unhappiness, watching a little girl being raped by a scumbag, Yun Chujia's remaining sympathy was still overflowing. Alright, these were all the lines that this guy used to clear his name. In fact, this guy wanted to take revenge on Zhu Jinghu, that Diao Xiaoyan. Damn it, did he want to kill me back then? Now, I'll let you go for nothing. Not only can you not get the beauty, but you can also forget about getting the 7-leaf hollow grass. However, now that Mo Fangjiao's maiden heart was burning, Yun Chuzhou knew that now was not the time. So after returning to the 5th room, Yun Chuzhou did not say anything and went back to the New Moon Pavilion. Chapter 2151 Brainwashed Mo Fangbing. The next morning, Zhu Jinghu indeed sent someone to deliver a letter to Mo Fangjiao, asking her to meet him at the tea house. Mo Fangjiao naturally went to the appointment excitedly, while Yun Chuzhou hopped to the Mo family's main house. After this fellow entered the main house, he did not look for the great elder first, but came to see Mo Fangbing instead. Mo Fangbing naturally did not have a good expression when she saw Yun Chuzhou. Humph. What are you doing here? Why didn't you pimp for Mo Fangjiao today? The corner of Yun Chuzhia's eyes twitched. This Mo Fangbing's words were really sarcastic, but her description was quite appropriate. Sister Fangbing, can you let them out first? I have something important to tell you. Yun Chuzhou said mysteriously. Mo Fangbing frowned and let the maid go. She also stood guard outside and did not allow outsiders to come close. Then, she asked Yun Chuzhou, what do you want to tell me? Sister Fangbing, although we didn't get along very well, I admire you from the bottom of my heart. Not only are you beautiful, but you also have superb spiritual power. The most important thing is that you have a clear mind. We can be considered to have a mutual appreciation. Yun Chuzhou put on a few hats for Mo Fangbing before getting to the main topic. Humph, cut the crap. What do you want to say? Although Mo Fangbing said this, she was still a little proud in her heart. Sister Fangbing, I'll just say it directly. Do you think that I brought Sister Fangjiao here yesterday because I didn't have good intentions? Did I deliberately come here to disrupt your marriage? Humph. Do you know yourself? Mo Fangbing said coldly. Sigh. Yun Chuzhou let out a long sigh, then, she continued, Sister Fangbing, you really misunderstood me. The reason why I brought Sister Fangjiao here is firstly because Sister Fangjiao requested it herself, and secondly, I also want to help you test your fiancé's character. In the end, TSK, Sister Fangbing, don't you feel wronged? Based on your qualifications, which part of you isn't better than Sister Fangjiao? That Zhu Jinghu turned a blind eye to you, but he just had to fawn over Sister Fangjiao. I really feel that it's not worth it for you. Yun Chujia's words hit Mo Fangbing's heart. She hadn't slept for almost a night. On one hand, she hated Mo Fangjiao and Yun Chujiao for disrupting the situation, and on the other hand, she hated Zhu Jinghu for being blind. Sister Fangbing, actually, there's something I don't understand. With your qualifications, isn't it too unfair for you to marry that ignorant and incompetent bastard Zhu Jinghu? Not to mention a second marriage, even being the main wife would be extremely unfair. With his appearance, one look and you could tell that he was a womanizer. Moreover, he looked like he loved to cause trouble. It's not that I'm cursing him, but with his smug look, he might be beaten to death one day. At that time, you'll have to be a widow. You are reading on MYBOXN0VEL.com. Sister Fangbing, think about it. You just married and you became a widow. Then, you really became a widow. Are you willing to die just like that? Yun Chujiao kept talking about being a widow as if she was brainwashing her. Mo Fangbing's face turned pale and her hands trembled slightly. You're talking nonsense. Cousin Jinghu would not treat me like that. Moreover, the Zhu family is a second-class family. They would not let anything happen to cousin Jinghu. Besides, what can I do with the words of the matchmaker and the orders of my parents? Mo Fangbing defended herself. Yun Chujiao was secretly happy. It seemed that Mo Fangbing had always been against this marriage, which made it even easier to handle. Sister Fangbing, of course I have to listen to the orders of my parents. However, you know that there's a fire pit in front of you, yet you still jump into it. Then you're a fool. If you're not happy, can your parents be at ease? Sister Fangbing, you're a smart person. You must know that what I said is true. Other than his family background, that Zhu Jinghu has no redeeming qualities at all. Marrying a good girl like you is like a good cabbage being eaten by a pig. Are you really willing to be eaten by a pig? Chapter 2152, Persuading Mo Fangbing. After listening to Yun Chujia's words, Mo Fangbing did not speak for a long time. She was much smarter than Mo Fangjiao. Although she did not know what Yun Chujia's motive was, she admitted that Yun Chujia's words made sense. Zhu Jinghu was not a good match at all. After a long silence, Mo Fangbing stared at Yun Chujiao. What is your motive? To put it simply, Zhu Jinghu almost killed me last time. Naturally, I don't want to see him carry a beauty back. To put it simply, although we sisters aren't happy, we are still related by blood. How can I bear to see you jump into a fire pit? Yun Chujiao said with an expression that said, I'm doing you a favor. Humph, you say it nicely. I think the first one is your motive. Mo Fangbing snorted. Sister Fangbing, don't bother about my goal. I just want to ask you one thing. Do you want to marry Zhu Jinghu, that pervert who always causes trouble? Mo Fangbing's face stiffened. She thought to herself, you've already portrayed Zhu Jinghu as a pervert. Do you think I want to marry him? Yun Chujiao saw that Mo Fangbing did not say anything and continued, Sister Fangbing, I know that you have big ambitions. Marrying a bastard like this is definitely not what you want. I will give you a clear path. I will think of a way to get 2 chances to go to a higher education institution or a large sect to take the test. When the time comes, you will go with me. With your talent, it is simply too easy for you to stand out. Moreover, there are many outstanding men in higher education institutions or large sections. Aren't you free to choose any of them? Isn't it much better than finding a second-rate person like Zhu Jinghu? How about it? If you are willing, you can cooperate with me and we can ruin this marriage. After listening to Yun Chujia's words, Mo Fangbing was stunned on the spot. Her eyes were actually slowly turning red. She did not expect Yun Chujiao to understand her thoughts so well. She had never been willing to marry and have children at an age like her mother, leading a mediocre life. She wanted to make a name for herself, which was why she hated Yun Chujiao for being favored by the great elder. She had also tried her best to perform, hoping to gain the favor of Mo Shaoquan and the great elder. However, the Mo residents had always prioritized boys over girls, even though her brother was not as talented as her. However, the resources of the family were all stuffed into her brother's hands. The family had planned for her to marry into a good family, so she had accepted her fate. At least marrying into the Zhu family could be considered as getting ahead, and she would be the best among the Mo sisters. Yun Chuzhou did not say anything else. She knew that Mo Fongbing had been persuaded by her, but she needed a process of self-persuasion. You are reading on MYBOXN0VEL, calm in a sense. Yun Chuzhou liked people with Mo Fangbing's personality more than people like Mo Fangjiao. A girl like Mo Fongbing had ambition in her heart and the desire to become stronger. Moreover, she was more willing to rely on her own strength to climb up. Although Mo Fangjiao also had ambition, she mostly wanted to rely on others. Fortunately, she had another advantage. Ahem. She was simple-minded, so it was not easy to be a big villain. After a full quarter of an hour, Mo Fongbing stared at Yun Chuzhou and asked, "Can you really get the chance to participate in the test?" Yun Chuzhou nodded confidently, "Of course. Even if it's not for you, I will do it for myself." If Yun Chuzhou had said this more than 10 days ago, Mo Fongbing would not have believed it. But now, she believed at least 90%. This Mo Fongbing was able to make her great-grandfather look at her differently. She had to admit that she did have some tricks up her sleeve. Chapter 2153 was a little more pleasing to the eye. What do you need me to do? Mo Fongbing decided to take a gamble. If she won the bet, she would win a new world. If she lost the bet, the worst outcome would be that she would lose the engagement. It would not be a pity if she did not marry Zhu Jinghu. Yun Chuzhou whispered a few words, and Mo Fongbing nodded. "Okay, I can cooperate with you, but you have to swear an oath. Otherwise, I won't believe you." All right. People just lack trust. Am I a person who will lie to others? Heaven above, if I lie to Sister Fongbing, I will be struck to death by lightning. Sister Fongbing, can you do it now? Yun Chuzhou said with a smile. Mo Fongbing saw that Yun Chuzhou had already sworn an oath, so she was relieved. Moreover, she didn't know if it was an illusion, but now she found Yun Chuzhou more pleasing to the eye than before, and she didn't seem to be so annoying anymore. The two of them chatted for a while more about the details before Yun Chuzhou got up and went to the Great Elder's courtyard. "Great Elder, I'm here." Yun Chuzhou's voice came before she arrived. Others thought that Yun Chuzhou did this because of her hot temper, but in fact, she had her own little Jiu. She shouted to give the people in the room a hint so that they wouldn't see or hear any secrets. When the Great Elder saw Yun Chuzhou jumping in, he could not help but put on a straight face. "You little girl, why didn't you come yesterday afternoon?" Yun Chuzhou giggled. "Great Master, I wanted to come, but I knew that you would definitely discuss the Zhu family with Grandfather Shao Quan, so I tactfully did not come." The Great Elder's eyes flashed. "Then what do you think the result of our discussion is?" Yun Chuzhou blinked her eyes. "Great Elder, I said it's fine, but don't blame me if I say something offensive." "You clever little girl, just say it." "I won't blame you." The Great Elder scolded with a smile. "Great Elder, I think that Grandfather Shao Quan's opinion is definitely to ask you to hand over the 7-leaf hollow grass and marry Sister Fongbing. As for you, I think you haven't decided whether to do this or not, so you're using the delaying tactic now, so you definitely haven't given the Pan family an answer yet. Am I right or wrong?" Yun Chuzhou finished speaking, she tilted her head and asked the Great Elder. The Great Elder didn't make a comment. Instead, he asked, "Then tell me, why would I hesitate?" "Great-grandfather, most people would naturally think that this is a great thing. After all, although the 7-leafed hollow grass is precious, it's nothing compared to the marriage of the Zhu family. But who are you? You are the wisest person in charge of the family, so it is natural for you to think long-term. You are reading on MYBOXN0VEL.com. These two things may seem like a good thing, but when you think about it carefully, they are both bad things. Let's talk about the marriage first. Sister Fangbing's family background is not as good as the other daughters-in-law of the Zhu family. In addition, she is a married woman, and her personality is cold and arrogant. She cannot please her in-laws and husband, so naturally, she will be bullied. When Sister Fangbing came back and cried, could her parents just stand by and watch? They would definitely negotiate with the Zhu family, but the Zhu family was powerful, and they would not be able to get back any justice. As time passed, the relationship between the two families would naturally deteriorate, and in the end, the in-laws would become enemies. To put it bluntly, that Zhu Jinghu was not a good person at all. Who knows, one day, he might cause trouble and be killed by someone. At that time, Sister Fangbing would bear the reputation of being a husband's nemesis. How could the other girls of our Mo family get married? The marriage was still fine, but the most fatal thing was the matter of the 7-leaf hollow grass. No one knew which idiot told the Zhu family about this, but it was simply a disaster. The Zhu family had been searching for the 7-leaf hollow grass for a long time. When the time came, they would definitely feel that grandfather, you had the 7-leaf hollow grass in your hands, but you did not take the initiative to offer it. You really did not know your place. Moreover, I don't know if the doctor that the Zhu family found is reliable or not. If he were to use his medicine, old lady Zhu would die instantly. She would definitely vent her anger on our Mo family. When the time comes, a calamity really fell from the sky. Chapter 2154, 7-leaf reed Yun Chuzhou made some noise. Regardless of whether it was far-fetched or not, she had already said all the possibilities that she had thought of. In short, it was the same goal, which was to stir up this matter. The reason why Yun Chuzhou wanted to stir up this matter was firstly to take revenge on Zhu Jinghu, and secondly, she had her own little Jiujiu. Although the great elder had asked her to come over to learn alchemy, it seemed that she was still hesitating whether to keep her in the eastern continent, so she was prepared to drag Mo Fangbing down with her. If she proposed to apply for higher education institutions or large sects, the great elder's side would be fine. The other people in the large sect might not agree, but if she brought Mo Fangbing along, the chances of agreeing would be greatly increased. Moreover, this fellow had too many enemies. No matter what, he had to rope in a few allies. Mo Fangbing's identity was special. It was very suitable to be used as an ally. The great elder listened to Yun Chuzhiu's words and did not speak for a long time. He had lived for so long, so he could naturally tell which of Yun Chuzhiu's words were realistic and which were exaggerated. However, he had to admit that this little girl had a lot of foresight compared to Xiao Quan. Although Zhu Jinghu was the legitimate son of a second-class family, he was arrogant and arrogant. If he caused trouble, he would cause trouble sooner or later. Not only would this marriage not bring benefits to the Mo family, it might even cause trouble. The 7-leaf hollow grass could not be given out. Otherwise, the Zhu family would definitely think that the Mo family did not say anything in the past because they were prepared to use it to exchange for benefits. Not only would they not be grateful to the Mo family, they would even start a feud. As for what Yun Chuzhou said about the death of Kofu and old lady Zhu, the great elder naturally did not take it to heart. He knew that it was all nonsense from Yun Chuzhou. The great elder sighed, "What a pity. What a pity. If only you were a boy. You are so smart. You are much stronger than your grandfather, Xiao Quan. That stupid fool could not wait for me to take out the 7-leafed hollow grass yesterday." Sigh. Yun Chuzhou laughed dryly. Great-grandfather, Grandfather Xiao Quan is in the middle of this. I'm a bystander. What do you plan to do? You sure know how to talk. She naturally couldn't agree to this matter, but how could this matter be resolved satisfactorily? As far as I know, it was your uncle Yonghui who leaked the 7-leaf hollow grass, and then the Zhu family told the Pan family. The great elder stared at Yun Chujio with a burning gaze. The reason why he did not give the Pan family a reply was that he did not think of an excuse to not offend the Zhu family and to reject the matter. Great elder, the Pan family is using the marriage as a bargaining chip, so as long as they do not hand over the 7-leafed hollow grass, the marriage will naturally come to an end. You are reading on myboxn0vel.com. As for the 7-leafed hollow grass, it is also easy to deal with it. A few days ago, when I was reading a book here, there was a record that the 7-leafed hollow grass was very similar to the 7-leafed reed. However, from its appearance, there was almost no difference. Only after the leaves were pulled out would there be a slight difference. The juice inside the 7-leaf clover was slightly thicker, while the juice inside the 7-leaf reed was similar to clear water, and had a faint fruity smell. You could have told Pan that at first, you thought that the 7-leaf clover in your hand was going to be offered to the Zhu family, but later found out that it was only the 7-leaf reed, so you didn't offer it to the Zhu family. The key to this matter is that you must get a 7-leaf reed as soon as possible, and you must not let the Zhu family find out about it. Otherwise, it will backfire, Yun Chujio said with a smile. Chapter 2155, A Genius is a Genius. The great elder was stunned for a moment before he laughed out loud. He took out a jade box from his storage ring. There was a stalk of medicinal herb inside. From its appearance, it looked exactly the same as the 7-leaf hollow grass, except that one of its leaves had been torn off. Yun Chujio clapped her hands. Looks like this is the 7-leaf reed. That's great. This is flawless. Great elder, you weren't at the scene at that time. Although that Pan's words were polite, that high and mighty attitude was simply too hateful. Also, that Zhu Jinghu didn't even take our Mo family seriously. Bah! Wasn't he just reincarnated into a good reincarnation? What's so great about it? Sooner or later, our Mo family will definitely surpass their Zhu family. The great elder frowned. When Mo Shaoquan told him about it, he did not mention these things. Now that he heard Yun Chujio's truthful description, he naturally felt very uncomfortable. Although the Zhu family was a second-class family, Zhu Jinghu was, after all, a junior. He actually dared to be so presumptuous. He was really arrogant. All right, I will handle this matter. Have you learned the disaster-breaking pill that I taught you a few days ago? The disaster-breaking pill was a level 11 medicinal pill. The great elder had just taught Yun Chujio the refining method a few days ago. I went back and tried it a few times. Although I was able to successfully refine it, the success rate of the pill was very low. It was basically 30 to 40%. Therefore, I still need to practice for a period of time. Yun Chujio, this fellow, decided to hide her foolishness to the end. That was why she said that on purpose. In fact, this fellow had already known how to refine the disaster-breaking pill long ago. What? 30 to 40% success rate of the pill? The great elder suddenly raised his voice. Yun Chujio's heart sank. It was over. She had hidden herself too much. If she had known earlier, she would have said 60% to 70%. She did not know if it was still too late to fill in the blanks. You can actually have a 30% to 40% success rate in just a few days. Genius. Genius. An ordinary person would need at least half a year to learn a high-level medicinal pill. You actually learned it in less than 10 days. You're really a genius. The great elder's beard curled up, he was clearly very excited. Yun Chujio. How could she be considered a genius like this? Damn, if he had known this would happen, he would have said that he had a pill success rate of 10 to 20%. A genius was indeed a genius. Even if he was hiding his abilities, he was still so outstanding. There was really no other way. The great elder said a few more encouraging words. Then, the two of them began to discuss some difficult questions regarding pill refinement. The atmosphere was very harmonious. At this moment, Mo Xiaoquan asked to see him. After the guards passed the message, Mo Xiaoquan walked in. When he saw Yun Chuzhou who came over to pay her respects, he did not have a good expression on his face. Even his own son had to pass the message when he came in, but this little girl who came out of 5 clothes could come in directly. He did not know what his father was thinking. "Father, Madame Pan is urging me through Yanggui's wife again. What exactly is your opinion?" Mo Xiaoquan felt that the great elder might be old and always cautious when handling matters. This was a great opportunity to curry favor with the Zhu family. It was really hard to understand why he had not made a decision. "You are reading on MYBOXN0VEL, Xiaoquan, the urban father's hand is not a 7-leaf hollow grass but a 7-leaf reed. The Zhu family's matter can only be dropped." "What? Father, what did you say? Didn't you tell me that it was a 7-leaf hollow grass?" Mo Xiaoquan said in disbelief. The great elder took out the jade box. He handed it to Mo Xiaoquan. "Take a look for yourself. This 7-leaf reed and the 7-leaf hollow grass look very similar on the outside. The only difference is the juice inside the leaves. It was only later when I flipped through the book that I discovered this. Otherwise, if I really gave it to the Zhu family, it would definitely be a huge mistake." Chapter 2156, Bubbles turn into bubbles. After the first elder handed the jade box to Mo Xiaoquan, he said to Yun Chuzhou, "Fang Chao girl, find the book that records the difference between these herbs for your grandfather." "Okay." Yun Chuzhou answered crisply and started to rummage through the bookshelf. Actually, this guy could find it in an instant, but he still pretended to rummage through it for a while before handing a book to Mo Xiaoquan. Mo Xiaoquan looked at the records on it and picked up the leaf to sniff it. Indeed, there was a faint fruit fragrance. His expression immediately became dejected. Such a good opportunity had slipped away. He reckoned that Fang Bing's marriage could only be abandoned. What bad luck. First elder gave him a few more instructions before Mo Xiaoquan took the jade box containing the 7-leaf reed and left dejectedly. The great elder shook his head. Not only did he not have a vision, but he also did not know how to hide his worries. Fortunately, he was still alive, or else it would really be difficult for the house to keep its position as the head of the family. The great elder knew Mo Xiaoquan's character, so he simply lied to him to avoid giving himself away. Yun Chuzhou blinked her eyes and thought of that silly girl, Mo Fangjiao. She then said to the great elder, "Great elder, I reckon that grandfather Xiaoquan will come to look for you to discuss sister Fangbing's marriage, so I won't be an eyesore here. He'll practice alchemy at home tomorrow and come back the day after tomorrow." The great elder nodded. There were indeed some words that were inconvenient for Yun Chuzhou to hear. "All right, you can go back." Yun Chuzhou bowed and then left. After Yun Chuzhou returned to the 5th room of the Mo family, she found that Mo Fangjiao had not returned yet. She was probably still flirting with that Zhu Jinghu on the street. It was not until evening that Chun Xiao reported to Yun Chuzhou that Mo Fangjiao had returned. Yun Chuzhou curled the corners of her lips and decided to save the silly girl who had lost her way and at the same time teach that bastard Zhu Jinghu a lesson. Yun Chuzhou brought Chun Xiao to Mo Fangjiao's courtyard. After the maid passed the message, Yun Chuzhou entered the house. Mo Fangjiao's face was full of pride. When she saw Yun Chuzhou, she was unprecedentedly enthusiastic. "Sister Fangchao, you're here. Xiao Yan, hurry up and serve the pastries, tea, and spirit fruits. You are reading on MYBOXN0VEL, Yun Chuzhou inexplicably thought of the pimp that Mo Fangbing had mentioned. The corners of her eyes twitched. After the maid served the pastries and the like, Yun Chuzhou said, "Sister Fangjiao, I want to tell you something. Can you let them go out first?" Mo Fangjiao found Yun Chujiu pleasing to the eye. She immediately let the maids go out and asked, Sister Fangjiao, what do you want to tell me? Sister Fangjiao, have you been with Zhu Jinghu all day? Mo Fangjiao blushed and nodded. Yes, let's go for tea first, then go shopping, and then go for dinner. Mo Fangjiao recounted her schedule for the day, and her words were filled with pink bubbles. Sister Fangjiao, what are your plans? You heard it too. The Zhu family's main goal is to obtain the 7-leaf hollow grass, so they will definitely marry Sister Fangbing. Do you plan to be Zhu Jing's concubine? Yun Chujiu decided to turn the pink bubbles into bubbles. When Mo Fangjiao heard Yun Chujiu's question, her expression turned a little ugly. Brother Jinghu told me today that he won't marry Mo Fangbing. He will marry me. He said that Mo Fangbing is a wooden beauty and he doesn't like her. Oh, that's what he said. Then, Sister Fangjiao, do you believe what he said? Do you really think he will go against Madame Pan for you? Yun Chujiu asked with a smile. Chapter 2157 Saving a Lost Lamb. Mo Fangjiao was a little hesitant, but she still said, anyway, Brother Jinghu won't lie to me. He will definitely marry me. He told me very firmly that he will definitely not marry Mo Fangbing. Sister Fangjiao, I won't say anything else. You also know that Zhu Jinghu and I once had a bad relationship. I have a lot to say. Perhaps you think that I'm framing him. In that case, I guess he will come to you tomorrow and find an opportunity to tell you that his mother doesn't agree to marry you. There's only one way to achieve his goal, and that is to make the rice ripe first. At that time, his mother will have no choice but to agree. At that time, what will you do? Yun Chujiu stared at Mo Fangjiao and asked. Mo Fangjiao showed a hint of panic on her face. Of course I won't agree. How can we not get married? We can do that. Sister Fangjiao, even though you're stubborn, I think you'll still be convinced by his flowery words. How about this, in order to let you see his true colors, let's put on a show. What show? Yun Chujiu lowered her voice and said a few words. Mo Fangjiao's face was red with embarrassment and anger. This is too much. Besides, Brother Jinghu won't do what you said. Sister Fangjiao, since you don't have anything to do with him, this is a good opportunity to see if he really wants to marry you. This marriage is a matter of life and death. If he really has bad intentions, wouldn't your efforts be in vain? No matter how good the Zhu family is, if you marry them as a concubine, it will be a huge fire pit. Mo Fangjiao bit her lips and hesitated for a moment. In the end, she stomped her feet and said, all right, I'll listen to you. Although she was simple-minded, she was not stupid enough to think that being Zhu Jing's concubine was a good way out. No matter how much the concubine was pampered, she would still be a slave and would never be able to raise her head. The two of them discussed for a while before Yun Chujiu hopped away. Mo Fangjiao did not sleep well the entire night. One moment, she felt that what Yun Chujiu said made sense, and the next moment, she felt that Zhu Jinghu would not lie to her. She didn't really like Zhu Jinghu. What she liked was the status of the first son of the Zhu family. If she could only be a concubine, then she might as well find a proper wife. At least her child would be able to raise his head in the future. The next morning, Zhu Jinghu sent someone to deliver a letter to Mo Fangjiao and asked her to meet him at the tea house yesterday. Mo Fangjiao dressed up meticulously and sent a maid to deliver a letter to Yun Chujiu. Only then did she go to the tea house to meet Zhu Jinghu. You are reading on MYBOXN0VEL.com. Zhu Jinghu was waiting impatiently in the tea house when he saw Mo Fangjiao arrive. A lustful look flashed across his eyes. Yesterday, Mo Shaoquan had already told Lady Pan about the 7-leaf hollow grass and the 7-leaf reeds. He had also shown Lady Pan the 7-leaf reeds and the pharmacopoeia. Lady Pan did not suspect anything. She felt that the Mo family would only reject such a good thing if they had a brain. She immediately offered to leave. However, old Madame Tian and Lady Zhu both urged her to stay. She agreed to stay for another 2 days because of her face. Old Madame Tian and Zhu Shi naturally had a purpose in urging her to stay. They wanted to facilitate the marriage between Zhu Jinghu and Mo Fongbing. However, Pan Shi no longer had this intention. Since the Mo family did not have the 7-leaf hollow grass, it would be better to find a girl with a better family background for their son to marry. This way, it would be helpful to their eldest son in the future. When Zhu Jinghu heard that he did not need to marry Mo Fongbing, he was naturally very happy. He planned to get Mo Fangjiao into bed today and then marry her as a concubine. Sister Fangjiao, you're really dazzling today. I can't take my eyes off you, Zhu Jinghu praised. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.